You'd have to spend all day in Chicago.
So you're driving.
So it's exactly right. So I'm on the plane. I got the T-Mobile free internet pass, and I'm locking in. I'm looking for rental cars. Guess what? No rental cars at the Chicago airports. Neither one, O'Hare or Midway. No rental cars. So then I'm like, well, this isn't. I went on every site. I'm on every site.
None were available.
None were available for a one-way. This is a one-way.
One-way.
So I found a pickup truck in a northern Chicago suburb. I'm like, all right, we're going to Uber to this sucker, and then we're going to load it up, and we're going to drive. I'm not spending 12 hours in the Chicago airport. I'm just not. I even looked at like private car drive, like what a car drive. I tried to Uber. Can I Uber from Chicago?
You can.
You can, but I couldn't get it to come up as an option. Every time I typed in like Uber to the location, they would not give it to me.
Huh.
So away we go. All right, so I got a rental car. We're on this 10:52 flight. We can make a decision on how we want. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with the kids. Like if we try to fly at 10:50, what do we do all day? I'm not going to sit in the Chicago airport for 15 hours.
Airport, go get them a Chicago beef.
Kids are fried.
Take them to Wrigley.
They're
not going to want to walk around or take the train because that's all you're going to do.
It was storming in Chicago Friday too.
Ugh.
So we land, D-plane, and again, I've been rebooked, but I look at my other flight and it says boarded. It says boarded. So we were in C-26. We were flying out of B-2. Amy's like, let's go. I'm like, this is crazy. There's no chance. It's gone. There's no chance. We were taking off at 7:30. It's 7:30 right now.
If you get on this plane, I'm going to be so happy for you and
so
think
we
of how
are
crazy what happened to me in Atlanta was.
We are fast sprinting to get there,
yeah.
Just like you and Miss Kay did. Fast sprinting. So that's a long way.
Under the lights.
You got to under, you go back up.
Oh, well, that didn't age so well.
Didn't age.
That video.
Aim goes left because she thinks I said B-21. I'm like, no. I'm trying to yell at her B-2. I know this is foolhardy. This is absurd. There's no chance. As I'm walking down there, I see a plane pushing off because B-2 is like way at the end.
Yep, most certainly is.
And I see the plane pushing off, and I'm looking with Beams. I'm like, dude, I go, Beams, 100% that's our plane. I get to B-2, and the lady goes, Bishop 5? Come on. Shut the front door. Doors open. She goes, we've been waiting on you. We walk on the plane.
That does not happen with every
It's never
airline.
happened in my life. Folks, I have driven from Newark here 2 years ago at spring break when they said, you're home. Newark is not Ohio.
Not Ohio.
I drove. I had a rental car. I've spent the night at the Denver airport. You and I have got a lot of bad travel. Bad. I've never had this in my life. I get on the plane. The guy next to me goes, I said, how are you guys still here? He goes, weather. But then I think they said they had a bathroom issue. But then as soon as we all sat down, the door closed and we took off. They told the folks that they had a bathroom issue, I think because of us, to get us on. I hugged the lady at the front.
When you juxtapose your experience to the experience that I had on the way to Puerto Rico is insane.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I've never had anybody hold a plane.
United?
I've never had it was United. I've never had anybody keep a door open.
No.
I've never seen it happen ever.
No.
Ever. Bishop
amazing.
5. I went up and I just hugged her.
Like, thank you.
Didn't even ask permission.
Yeah. God bless you.
Well, honey, you'll understand.
What a win.
What a win.
What a win.
My word.
So
What
that
a win.
happened. So my daughter's coming home.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
She's flying home from Italy, Malta.
Yeah.
Well, that storm's coming right across.
Sure it is.
She's supposed to land in Chicago. She's flying United. She's supposed to land at 7:30, taking off at 9:15 for Cleveland.
Yep.
I'm picking her up at the airport right before midnight.
Yep.
Okay, great. No worries. Gonna be an early morning, gonna be a rough one. I'm watching the storm come across. I'm watching her flight because I have the flight tracker, and I'm like, all of a sudden she's coming across the Atlantic and then diverts north.
Oh, God.
And I mean north. Like into the great
Greenland.
northern wilderness. Like she's above Ontario.
Oh, God.
To get around the
Sure.
She lands at 8:45.
Yeah.
Well, you still got to go through customs.
Of course.
You got to go through everything else. 9:15 flight. My wife's looking up hotels because now we're going to have to put her up in a hotel.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I look at United's app. Pull out the United app. I go, let's just see what the Cleveland thing is. Because at this point, the wrath of God's going on here.
Yeah, we got hit.
we're at a ground stop in Cleveland. We're at a ground stop, and they're like, your flight's delayed from Chicago to Cleveland.
So you made it.
2 hours. I had to go to the airport at 2:45 this morning to pick her up.
Oh, my God.
But she's like, I got through. I'm in. But
It's
she had to go from another concourse to B7. And she's sprinting through the B. She goes, she's on the phone. She goes, where's B7? I go, unfortunately, the low numbers are not at the front.
No.
They are at the very end of B.
Which makes no sense.
No.
You feel like it should be right there.
Well, it goes from I
think
a little sense.
I think the big thing, though, is it speaks to just how unpredictable it is and how we've all grown accustomed to it going the worst. And so even when that thing that you dealt with in Atlanta, you were probably prepared for that worst. Like, it was awful to go through it, but you're probably like, well, I know how this is going to go.
Dude, congratulations.
So to have a win was
huge.
Have a travel win was unreal.
I mean, we flew our to and from Nashville were both couldn't have been easier. And it's like that is such a relief.
Yes.
And so unexpected that, I had 2 flights that were on time.
Yeah, I'm to the point now. I'm only going to I told AIM, I'm like, wherever we can fly direct, that's where we're going.
Yes.
Like, I'm just done.
Yes.
I'm done with it. So it was great.
I gotta tell you, we had something on Wednesday when we went to the airport that I've never seen before at Cleveland. And I know it was spring break week, so maybe that had something to do with it. So we get up there, and Miss K likes to get to the airport early.
What define?
At least an hour and a half before takeoff.
Okay.
Which I think she likes to be there an hour before boarding.
I gotcha. Instead of an hour before takeoff, which is kind of standard,
Unless it makes her happy.
Yeah,
fine. So we're all going. We pull up. We're there with ample time, and we pull up to the airport. Every lot is full. In fact, there are cops blocking the entrances to every lot. Even my little sweet move on the backside blocked, front blocked.
Security is blocking the parking?
All the parking. Said there are no spots, can't park here. Valet, full, no, can't valet. So we were going to go valet. So now we're like, well, what are we supposed to do? We can't, where are we supposed to park? So I know that there are the lots around. I'm just not familiar with them. I've never parked.
The brown lot on Rocky River Drive I told you all about. You can't beat it.
But if you're not prepared for the time that built into your, because it's tight.
Correct. It's an extra 10 or 15
I got to know what I'm dealing with.
So what we ended up doing was we came, and Gibby may have noticed my car was here the whole week. We came and we parked here and got an Uber from here to the airport.
I got to say,
which, by the way,
pretty good.
When you think about that, it was $14 for 2 Ubers round trip, $7 each way.
Wow.
Compared to paying parking, I might just do that.
So
period.
All the time.
As long as you could get an Uber.
Yeah.
You'd have to schedule the Uber, but
it was
that would
very
be
easy.
easy.
There were Ubers all over. Because there are always Ubers at the airport, so being here.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't preclude.
No.
I can throw you another thing. Number one,
which by the way, has anybody ever seen that airport where you could not park?
Do you guys remember what I was dealing with in the lead up to our flight a week ago
right,
Thursday?
When you were trying to
I was
like,
is Jim have enough time?
What happened with that?
So he dropped off. Remember we had just barely enough, but I had called valet at Hopkins and I said, "Can I valet if I'm there at 5 a.m?" And they're like, "Yeah, no problem. You're not going to have a problem that time." So great Jim's livery. He was locked in. Actually dropped off the family early. We ended up getting there a full hour ahead of our plane, so it was awesome. Like, he was great timing. But when we pulled up, the valet lot said full. So they had said that no problem. It was full.
Yeah.
And so I would be like, my God, if this would have happened, I don't know what I would have
if
done.
That happened and you couldn't park anywhere else
else.
on the property.
And I don't. Yeah. There wasn't much available. And that was at 5 a.m. Thursday.
Yeah. Well,
that airport's a mess.
Zagura, number one, we had to find out through the documentarian that you were literally standing on the corner outside the building.
I did. Yeah, we got picked
right
up
there.
Z,
right here.
Shoot us a text. I would have grabbed the SUV from security and driven you to the airport.
I'm not putting anybody out like that. That's no way.
It's a 10-minute drive, dude.
I know, but it's a $10 Uber.
But what I'm saying, like,
you have to go there and back.
Hold on, I'm going to give you another one.
Larry David would not.
I said something to the great Rick Poling and to Jay.
Yeah.
The week Monica and I were going to Florida for the weekend. Monica's like, "Hey, I can't go home. You can't go home. Like, coming in hot. Can I leave the car across the street?" I said, "Yeah, just park it next to mine. I'll let security know both cars are here. We might have to give them the keys in case they have to move it, but I don't think it'll be a big deal." Told Jay. Rick was there. Rick goes, "I'll get security." They gave us a ride. Like, I'm just telling you, There are options.
You're also you wear their gear, like you're a part of their team.
I do have multiple.
Multiple gear.
Yeah,
their gear.
Their gear.
Frane's not
elite.
messing around.
Yeah, Frane's not messing
It's
around.
elite.
I want to
gear.
know what the London gear is going to look like for that security detail this year.
A lot of Union Jacks. I like it.
I'm
I
just
like it.
saying.
Beef eaters.
Next time, Z, just tell us. Like,
All right, fine.
there were 3 of us sitting up here. Like, one of us would have. I would have run down, grabbed the Escalade from across the street, and taken
it over. Yeah. All right, a lot's been going on, sort of.
By the way,
I
a
don't
lot's
know what
been going
A
on.
lot's going on currently, right?
Currently, right now, a lot is.
There's a
going
lot going on currently.
Yeah.
Do you want to do with the lots that's going on currently
Yes,
right now?
let's do the
Go ahead.
currently.
You give me the what's
So I
going
think
on
this is
currently.
the biggest takeaway and you can read this in a billion different ways, and some
Yep.
people I think are reading it very incorrectly. But Jimmy Haslam, speaking to reporters, is a direct quote, and I've got it from 2 different places, so I feel like that is written accurately. Quote, "We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun. We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't, and we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him. So we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole. It was an entire organization decision, and it ends with D&I, so hold us accountable." So a lot of people are taking that saying where it's being shortened to, Jimmy said hold D&I accountable, that they did this. I think people need to remember, here's the reality of the situation. You can choose to believe it or not. Football, Andrew Barry, Kevin Stefanski, football side, they came to the conclusion that they wanted to bring Deshaun Watson into our organization. Once it was vetted out and everybody was on board with it, basically Jimmy said, let's get it done. And what does it take to get it done? Turns out it took a guaranteed contract. So, yes, he signed off on that portion of it. But it wasn't like he was the brainchild for bringing Deshaun Watson in. It was an organization decision. I think that's great leadership to say that the buck does stop with me. I own the team, so hold us accountable. That's great, but I think people are reading it to mean that Deshaun Watson is a Cleveland Brown because of a Jimmy Haslam directive. That is not the case. It was football brought it here, and Jimmy Haslam did. By the way, had it worked out, you guys would be singing his praises because he's clearly willing to do whatever it takes from a financial standpoint to get the best team on the field. It did not work out. He admitted that as well. Now we can read into that comment and what that means, knowing that he is still on the roster.
I understand that,
but it's just it's a realistic comment.
It's 3 years here and missing the 4th with an injury,
Yes,
so it's like at best it's 1 year. That is not a definition of worked out.
No,
so
and they've got to get out of it.
You have the perfect read on it. This is an old school approach. This is an old school ownership approach for a guy who's the buck stops with me.
That's me. I'm the owner.
I'm the boss. I'm the owner. Me and D are the owners. We're the bosses.
We sign the checks.
We sign the checks. Yep. We have to okay it. No one's doing a deal like this without our approval. I would just tell you this. Everything that Z has said about all of this, the lead up, we have talked about this for years and laid this out, and people don't want to believe it left and right. I still get people who come up to me all the time and don't believe the way that what we're saying, what we're telling happened.
It's not
the way that it happened. No, it's not conjecture. It's not spin. It's the fact. This is how it happened.
Yes.
And so once it became, hey, we really want to get this guy. We think we can get him. Ownership said, okay, well, we'll do what it takes to get him. That's how it went. And what happened today with Jimmy Haslam making these comments is that's the way it happened, but it's on me.
Yeah.
Because I could have said no.
Yes. I could have said I'm not.
I own the team. I could have said I'm not doing it.
Guarantee the contract because I don't want to do that. But he said he would. And I think that in a situation where if we ever can get the quarterback right, we have an owner here who is going to ensure that quarterback is surrounded by everything that he needs, not just short term, but long term.
Mm-hmm.
And so goes back to it. That is job one. Now, he also went on to say they will not force a quarterback at 2. Said we have to get that position right, but we will not force the quarterback at 2. He said that it is they've got to get this draft right, not just the first round. They need to get this draft right, that it's huge for them this year. He said it would be great if we could get a quarterback, but we're not going to try to force it. We're going to be patient, and we're going to try to accumulate as many really good football players as we can.
I would also say this isn't as anything to necessarily in regard to Mr. Haslam's comments, but just we're a month from the draft, man. No one's telling the truth. Like I saw Brian Callahan talking this morning, the Titans, we're 2 weeks away from our decision. Nonsense.
No.
They know where they're going.
You both,
like this is all just liar's poker. It's just nonsense.
You guys missed some whoppers.
What was your favorite
we didn't
story
miss
last?
Any whoppers.
What was your favorite bunch of nonsense last week that we missed that you would have liked us here to participate with you in?
Yes. Let's start with that.
I forgot about Dak.
Let's
I thought you were
start
going to do Cousins.
right there.
I thought you were going to do Cousins
No,
at Chipotle.
Dak.
Hold on.
Dak.
That's true.
Yes, he was at Chipotle.
I
That's
know,
true.
but I thought that would have been a fun one for
That's
us
the
to
one
be
that
at.
I thought wasn't true.
like-
I'm like, get out of here.
Him
What
The
is-
Dak
bantering
one would have been
with
unbelievable.
people was amazing.
Yeah.
But the Dak one, Myles Garrett's here because Dak has an untradeable contract.
I feel like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we went around and went to every team in the league.
Yeah.
And we're like, who's got a guy? Who could want a guy? And there's the natural of like, Jerry resetting the Cowboys and all of that. The problem is they just gave him the deal. It's not tradable. It was not even a year ago.
That was the day of opening day against
it's not
us.
even a year
It was
ago.
announced that morning.
It was. I think you're right. I think it was
Yeah.
that Sunday morning.
It was that
announced.
morning.
So, yeah, that was one that we would have been fun to pour water on that right away. It just chance. It just can't happen.
I wake up Friday morning. We got a nice show for the kids that I've put together so we can have a nice day off and enjoy the nice quality rain showers.
Sure.
And,
Oh, it's
average weather at best. And we're whining and dining. People are trying out quarterbacks. I'm like, all right, great. I'm just going to do an opening segment that recaps all of this, and we'll see you on Monday.
We'll see on down the road.
Because I don't
kids.
know anything else right now.
I mean, the best part was on the Dak thing that that Dren was basically like, I don't know. But if it does happen, you heard it here.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Now, Cousins was at Chipotle.
Correct.
And at a barbecue?
Do we know why?
No, but
Not
it was
tied
not
to us,
not
apparently.
tied to us, and not allowed. There was a lot of speculation that he was here to visit Dr. Voos.
Yeah.
No.
The I did some radio yesterday, a buddy of mine in Atlanta. So he goes, "Can you come in and talk about Cousins?" And so we were doing it, and I said, I'm going to lean on you on this, Heath, because from my vantage point, the only way that Cousins becomes available is if the Falcons do him a solid and do the Russ Wilson thing, right? Pay him a bunch of money to play somewhere else. That's because he's like, well, and it was like, well, they could maybe do a trade. I'm like, yeah, but the Browns we can't take on $28 million in salary either. It just doesn't work. So like the only scenario is cut. And then I said, if it's a video game, it makes sense. He played Minnesota with Stefanski. They had great success. Video game wise, it makes all the sense in the world.
It's not a dome.
But it isn't a dome.
And his indoor-outdoor splits are striking.
But it would make sense if you're playing a video game. But everything else, like the idea that they're going to get compensation for Cousins, I just don't even see the landing spot at this point.
It could end up being the Steelers if Rodgers doesn't.
Yes.
But I've heard, and this isn't score, this is just a speculation. I've heard that Arthur Blank is like, I'm not paying him to not be here.
And I don't blame him for that.
Me neither.
Correct.
You guys told me to bring him in here. I wrote this big check.
Yeah.
Michael Penix has a long injury history.
Yeah.
We think we have a good team.
Yeah.
He's a great backup, and I have to pay him regardless.
Yeah. Why would I?
So
pay
I'm
a
not
guy?
paying him to not be here. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I hope that today, and that quote from Jimmy Haslam that we gave you guys, like you don't get that kind of real honesty in sports often, and I hope that is. I hope people can at least appreciate that and understand that everything that can be done to get this right will be done, whether that doesn't guarantee any type of an outcome. But I don't know. I've always had a lot of respect for that. Is a very honest decision. I think that is, as we talked about, that is very old school leadership to say that I sign checks. This is my company. So at the end of the day, every decision's made ultimately rests with me, even though I empower people to do their jobs. Mm-hmm. But so put it on us, and we're going to try to get it right. And it was. I mean, unfortunately, that did not work the way that anybody thought it was going to work. And I think it's important for people, though, to get the full quote, which we read on the air. And again, we took a big swing and miss with Deshaun. We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't. We gave up a lot of picks to get him. It was an entire organization decision, and it ends with DNI, so hold us accountable.
Yeah. A couple other news and notes from today's morning league meetings. At Kevin Stefanski's presser, joint practices official. We will be with Carolina in week 1 of the preseason for 1 day of practice, and the Philadelphia Eagles in week 2. Browns will be the home team in week 3 of the preseason. So that you will have those joint practices again. You'll just be in Carolina.
We're going to hit the road.
Going to hit the road, boys.
Yeah, I guess it sounds or it appears like we're just one joint practice with Carolina, but 2, we'll have the full week experience again in Philadelphia.
In Philly. So we'll run that back. All right. The Hoff is getting a new hip. That's happening.
Yeah, I got a picture from him from the.
He posted it on Instagram.
Oh, I didn't know that he was doing.
I
I was
didn't
going
know
to
that
text him
either.
about his BVI experience and see if that was worth something worth replicating.
Yes,
Look at the Hoff
the Huff in surgery,
hip replacement.
getting ready to go.
You're too young for a hip
Comeback?
replacement.
So now he's got 2 things he could be on his little bucket list. He could be the first gold jacket to return to the NFL.
Yep.
And he could be the first tackle with a hip replacement to play in the NFL.
Yep.
Bionic hip, Hoff.
Yep.
Not going to get hurt that way.
I like it. All right, there you go, kids. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. League meetings going on. Andrew Barry's conversation with the media coming up next. We're off and running. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland.